Hello there, sweet friends, and welcome to episode 1 of Finding Your Style 2. Today we're going to tackle ditching the journal. So again, with the whole, here is my process, here is the journey that I took, I'm just going to share with you guys the things that stood out to me as I've looked back through my process of being a creative, of being an artist. And one of the things that helped me immensely was this, getting rid of the journal. I had so much anxiety and fear because I was afraid that I was going to ruin a journal. I would buy journals and then I would bring them home and they would just sit and I could not do anything with them because I was so afraid of ruining them. What if I did a page and I didn't finish it? What if I did a page and I didn't like it? What if I accidentally put paint or a stamp or a sticker or collage someplace where I didn't want it to be? Those were all the things that were running through my mind, and they are legitimate things. Those are real fears that artists have. So one of the things I did was I just completely abandoned the journal. I look back on this process and I have a lot of fond memories about this time, because this time was when I finally gave myself freedom to just create. So let's talk about ditching the journal and what we are going to use to replace it. These are the back sides of pieces that I worked on during this time period, okay? So you can see that none of these papers are precious. None of these, whoops, one got in there. None of these pages are anything that is destined for anywhere but the trash. Like these are all just scraps of random pages, junk mail, things that had already had some stuff on it, things that I worked on the back, papers that weren't high quality. And so these are the papers that allowed me to have the freedom that I needed to figure out what it is I actually like to do. What kind of art do you like to do? Now there's a difference between what kind of art you like and then what kind of art you like to do. There's a lot of art out there that I love, and I have tried to do it, I've tried to emulate it, but it just doesn't work for me. So I feel like in this series, we maybe need to distinguish between what is it that you like, what is it that you're drawn to, but what is it that in reality you actually do? And can you pull some little bits from the stuff that you like and turn it into your own creative style? So this, I'll show you in the next video. But for now, what I want us to work on is let's focus on ditching that journal, okay? So we're gonna find a bunch of papers. That's gonna be your assignment for this lesson, is to find a big pile of papers. So I pulled some papers this morning. Let me show you what I have. What I did was I just went through my house and I found any and all kinds of papers that I could now use as my substrate. I'm going to use this to journal on. These aren't going to be papers that I use for collaging and journaling and ephemera and details. This is going to be the place where I put all my creative energy into these pages. So think of them as they're going to be like your background. So here are some things that I pulled. I had some like old notebook paper or tablet paper, and it's really thin. Of course, I have a ton of this letterhead paper, and I love putting it in my journals, and so I always like to put art on it whenever I can. So I grabbed those. Again, none of this is precious. This is all stuff that was either thrifted or pulled from the trash or pulled from my junk mail, and it was destined for the garbage anyway. That's what allows me to have that freedom, is knowing I'm not going to mess any of this stuff up, because guess what? it was all headed to the trash anyway. So I grabbed some of those. I have an atlas, and so I just pulled some pages from this atlas. I pulled this one that had it looks like miles and stuff like that, and then this one that actually had a map on it. Another piece of tablet paper, another piece. This is actually like a piece of ledger paper, some graph paper, some book pages that had some runoff ink on them. So these are some book pages that I pulled out. These are pages that were left over from other art projects. And so I'm going to use these guys. Let's see. I don't think I want to use that one because it's got too much art on it. But yeah, we'll use this left over from some other art projects. Actually, I'm going to get rid of that one. We'll just use this one. There you go, because I want these to be as blank as possible. This has got color. I'm not going to use that one. Oh, this is a good one. So this is a page from a recipe book, and it's ripped, and it's really thin. Here is some really ugly wallpaper, and so I'm going to use it, and if you don't have wallpaper, that's fine. Envelopes that come in the mail, junk mail envelopes. Yeah. They can be torn, they can be not torn, they can be envelopes that actually have stamps and stuff on them if you want to use those. So more pages from books. So this is a magazine I got in the mail, and while I love pinsies, and I don't think I'm going to tear up the magazine, I will take this off. I like that. I like the size and I like how thick it is, so I'll use this. This is an old book that is falling apart. Let's see. Let's pull a couple of pages from this. And when you're gathering, when you're gathering pages, try to get different weights of papers. So get some thicker papers, get some thinner papers. Grab some different sizes. So larger papers, smaller papers. They can be torn. Grab ones that have different finishes. So like, this is like a matte finish, and then, let me see, this is more like an eggshell or a semi-gloss type of finish. But the different finishes, here's another one. This is some junk mail. Ooh, pull the glue off. This is going to have like a nice thick paper to it, but it's also going to have a gloss to it. So pull different types of finishes, sizes, weights, all that good stuff. And here's why. Because during this process, I'm going to have you guys work with the papers and really get to know how do different papers react to my art. That was a huge learning thing for me. I had no idea about paper. I just thought paper was paper. And it wasn't until I got rid of the journal and I started looking at different papers that I realized, oh, this takes watercolor differently than this takes watercolor. So I think that's a really important part of the process, because how are you going to know what your style is if you don't know what types of materials you like to use and what types of papers you like to use? This is some, I think it's like wrapping paper, but I'll be honest, I'm not in love with this right here. So, good grief, I had a lot of it. So I think what I'll do is I'll just tear some off. And that's another thing. Get papers that aren't just blank. Get papers that have text and stuff on them, because again, it's going to be a learning process. You're going to figure out what will cover this up, what will allow it to peek through. How do these inks affect my materials, my paints, my crayons, my colored pencils, my inks? So gather things that have different images. So I think I'll grab I don't need all of that, but I'll grab this sheet right here. Okay, very rarely do I say go out and buy something. And I'm not saying go out and buy something, but I have some of these tablets. A lot of these are left over from my daughter, when she was living here, she's an artist, and so she just had a bunch of these laying around. So I don't typically use these, but I am going to use these for this lesson. So I'm going to tear some pages, and I don't even know what kind of paper this is. I don't know, because the cover's gone, so I don't know if it's watercolor paper, mixed media. It's kind of thick, has a little bit of a tooth to it. And tooth just means you can like feel the fibers. I like papers that have tooth to it. There's something about dragging a pencil down a paper that has tooth to it. It pulls on that pencil, and it really allows the mark to stick, to adhere. And that's just a personal thing. So in this one, let's see what we've got. This page, it's ripped, but it's already got some paint on it. I don't think I want to use one that has paint on it. All right, here's a blank page. We'll pull this out, and let's see, anything else? You know what? We'll pull this one out too. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we got a couple of those. What else do I have in here? Okay, so this is just a page I pulled from a book. Another page I pulled from a book. This is kind of thin, and it's kind of a smoother paper. These are, bills and things that I got in the mail. Gross. I don't want those. This is some calendar paper that a sweet friend sent me several years ago, and I'm going to use it, and it's really thin, but yeah, we're gonna see how it works. So let me pull off of here, and I think maybe what I'll do is just tear it. There we go. So now I've got it into pieces that I can use. And it's okay if the edges are not straight. Now, I know some of you guys are out of your comfort zone right now because you're like, I don't want to have torn edges. It's okay. You don't have to have torn edges. If you want your pages to be with nice straight edges and corners, that is perfectly fine. I do not need that. I'm good just like this. So I can always come back to this paper if I need to. Okay, and then what I did was I put a couple of pieces of paper on my work desk, and this paper is actually going to turn into some experiment paper too, and I'll show you how we'll do that. So I have amassed a collection, quite a bit of a collection here of some pages, and now I am ready to move on to the next lesson. So this was going to be a really short lesson. I'm probably going to post lesson 2. I'll give it a couple of days for you guys to gather your papers, and then I'll post lesson 2. I don't want to have too much room in between these lessons because I don't want you to lose your mojo, but I do want you to have a little bit of time so that you can do whatever little task I'm going to ask you to do. So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to ditch your journal, okay? Doesn't mean throw it away. Just means we're going to put it to the side for now, because we're going to really dig in deep to the art part of this. Not so much what your journal pages look like. We'll get to the journaling later, but I think what we need to do, because this is what I did, is I moved away from journaling. I moved away from scrapbooking. And what I did was I dug deeper into the art part of this. And that's what really allowed me to figure out what I like, what I can do, what I want to do, and how I behave as an artist. That's really what allowed me to do this. Making journal pages and journal spreads and scrapbook layouts, that was awesome, but that never really gave me the permission to figure out all of the aspects of my creativeness. And that's what I want us to do. I want us to dig deeper. So We're going to dig deep. We're going to push our journals to the side. Doesn't mean abandon your journaling. If you still do a planner, or you do a junk planner, or you do daily writings and things like that, absolutely still do that. But for this lesson, what I want you guys to do is I want you to go through your house and I want you to find a pile of junk papers, okay? It can be from your mail. It can be from your trash. Make sure it's clean. It can be from old books. It can be from just, you know, that drawer that you have by your kitchen that has all the junk in it. Go through that drawer, see what you can find. And when we come back to lesson 2, we're going to tackle this paper, okay? All right, my friends, thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you got some inspiration. I hope you are healthy. I hope you are happy, and I hope you do something creative today and go find your papers. I will see you in lesson 2 of Finding Your Style 2. Bye.